in Rochester, New York. We are here to talk about the excitement surrounding the rebranding of the Rochester Rhinos and the plans to bring the club out of a 4-year hiatus from play. Now, 2 things to remember today. Rochester New York FC will also be known as RNYFC. The new brand pays homage to the tradition of naming a football club for the city where the game is played, and in this case, the city and state. 2 words to remember today: believe impossible. It's the slogan you're going to hear from Jamie Vardy, who is now a co-owner of this team. He's joining us from Leicester City, England, and brings incredible stature as a Premier League champion, FA Cup winner, and Golden Boot holder. He just finished practice with his teammates on the Leicester City FC team, and you're going to hear from him in just a minute. Also, David and Wendy Dworkin have been owners of the Rochester Rhinos for 5 years, and as promised, they are bringing professional soccer back to Rochester. Not just for the fans, but also to develop young players and bring them to the international arena. They feel that Jamie Vardy is going to be a key to RNYFC's equation for success. Finally, Pat Erkley, a former Rochester Lancer, also a Rochester Rhinos coach, general manager, and the current club president for RNYFC. He is ready for this rebranding to catapult Rochester New York FC back into the world of professional soccer, and he certainly wants to take this team back to the championship level again. So we will get to your questions in just a moment, but we want to begin with Jamie Vardy with a quick statement about his excitement for being part of this rebranding. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, you're right. Yeah, no, the rebranding, it's something that we've been looking forward to. It took nearly 2 years to get to this stage with the branding. So we've come up with something that we thought was right in moving forward and wanting to come back, like you've just said, bigger and better than before.
All right, thank you so much, Jamie, for joining us too. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions to you in your vision for the club. But let's talk about the rebranding issue first. I think the Dworkins might be able to address that issue because a lot of people are wondering how this rebranding came about. So Wendy and David, do you want to start with that?
Sure. Well, as Jamie mentioned, it's been a long process. And whenever you take a legacy brand like the Rhinos, and you endeavor to create something out of it, there's a lot that goes into it. We're fortunate that we have diehard supporters and fans, people that have followed this team since its inception. And we were very strategic in reaching out to our supporters, to our fans, and finding out what was important to them. The one thing that everybody said is, you gotta stay green. Green is the Rhinos, that's the color we've been forever. And no matter.
All right, well, thank you so much. And I want to enable all the participants, if they want to raise their hand or write a question in the Q&A section. We are ready to take questions from our participants. But as we wait for those to come in, why don't we also talk about the vision for the club? And I think, you know, could we just talk to Pat Erkley for a quick second about his vision, taking this club back to the championship level?
Well, certainly, you know, it's a pleasure to be here. You know, Jamie came on board because he saw our vision as a club, our history as a club, and what we accomplished, especially the Open Cup win against the 4 MLS teams and accomplishing that. And it kind of paralleled his life and what he's been able to accomplish as coming out as an underdog at some point and believe the impossible is part of that. And it's really part of our Rhino history, believing the impossible. If we can't join them, let's beat them was the slogan back then when we were competing against MLS and winning the Open Cup championship. So our dream is obviously to achieve that again. I think we're the only team in 22 years that has been able to accomplish that from a lower division. Most other Open Cup championships have all been won by the MLS team. So, you know, I know, Jamie, we put the 5 stars on our jersey to represent the 5 championships that we've won. And I know Jamie would like to add a lot more to that.
Thank you, Pat. And let's go to Jamie. But again, participants, you are able to raise your hand or write a question in the Q&A section. But Jamie, let's play off of that, because we're all concerned about the world's impression right now about Rochester, New York, here in upstate New York, how that's been handled on the world scene.
Yeah, like you say, it's gone out everywhere at the minute, so we're getting a lot of feedback on it. Some people are not going to like it. Some are saying that they love it. That's one of the issues that you get. It's hard to really please everyone. But what we will say is just trusting us. We've got to this stage, like we've said, with over 2 years of talks going on, and the plan that we've got set up and what we want to do will definitely make us achieve that and getting back, like we've said, to being really successful.
And to back up what Jamie said, have some faith. The rebrand is just one part of an overall plan to bring the team back to greatness. So stick with us. If you're not a fan of the rebrand, just stay with us for a bit and see all the other wonderful things that we'll be rolling out in the coming months and years.
I know one of the questions that has been asked, is the rhino extinct? What's going to happen to the rhino?
So the rhino is not extinct. That is part of our history, and we are not trying to erase our history. As one person put on social media, did you just throw out all your trophies? No, we have not. But like many things, we're looking forward to the future.
That was Pat Ercoli's US Open Cup ring, in case anyone was curious.
We're just turning the page on a new chapter and hopefully a bright future. So I encourage people that, are very attached to the name of the Rhino and the Rhinos, come to our matches, shout, "Go Rhinos." You are more than welcome to do that. And it's very common for teams to have a name of their city, yet still have another name associated, like the Leicester City Football Club, and they're also known as the Foxes. That can hold true here in America too.
All right, great. We do have a question coming in from Randy Gorman from WXXI. So we're going to allow him to ask his question. Randy.
Yeah, hi, everybody. Thanks for taking my question. And obviously, you guys have already started talking about this, but the Rhinos, a name which has been around for about a quarter century or so. A lot of sports fans, as you know, are traditionalists. What kind of feedback do you think? I know I've seen some on social media already, and some obviously folks who started commenting are worried about the legacy of that name. You're taking a bit of a chance. I mean, do you realize you may alienate some people to start with this name change?
I think well, first of all, that's the most obvious response that we're getting is pro and con. And when we went through our focus groups and we talked to Rhino fans, both domestically and even some folks that supported us in other markets, that was always the big one. Are you going to stay a Rhino or not stay the Rhino? And I think at the end of the day, we decided after talking to everyone that the best thing to do was to come out as we did with RNYFC, pay homage to what we were. We're still there. The trophies are still there. You can come visit them anytime you want. You can go visit Pat's house and see all of his rings that he has. But it is a big deal. And it's one of those things where we're never going to please everybody for everything. And 4 years ago, people would have said anything. Please just come back. Please play. Well, believe impossible. We're playing. Okay, we're back. We have Jamie Vardy. How did that happen? Well, it did. Now we have a new name, but we're still the same team. I think when people realize that there's more to us, as Jamie said, to the whole package, in totality, we believe that on the pitch, we will be able to create something that people didn't think was possible.
All right, thank you. And a reminder to participants just joining us now, you can ask a question by raising your hand or actually typing out a question in the Q&A section. Our next question is coming from Seth Voorhees from Spectrum News.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for taking our questions today. I guess I have two questions. First off, and I think I know the answer, but tell us a little bit about where the actual home games will be played, And the second question is, you know, having not played since 2017, I believe, how important is the rebrand, I guess, in, you know, really kind of regrowing a fan base? You have a lot of traditional soccer fans here in Rochester, but there's obviously been a bit of turmoil surrounding, you know, the fact that you haven't played in 4 years. You know, how important is that rebrand to kind of regrowing the fan base, yet also, you know, keeping the soccer fans that you do have here in the city?
So I think I'll take the rebrand part and David can speak to the stadium part. In terms of rebranding, we've done so much work behind the scenes to be able to play again in 2022 that this just really seemed like the right time with a new partner that gives us access beyond just our local market, our regional market, to really become an international soccer or football brand, and that this was the right time for a refresh, to question what our culture was going to be moving forward, what our values were going to be, and how we were going to show that to the world. So a refresh, you know, this was the time to do it. Time does not stand still for any man, any business, or any soccer club. And this was just the appropriate time to start a fresh, new page in the club's history, new luck.
And Seth, I'll take the second piece, which is the stadium. Our plan is to play at the Empire Sports Complex, which is in Henrietta. They have a pitch already. We've engaged a international company, O Sports, to deal with the design of that. That is our temporary home. Whether it's 2 years or 1 year, that's still to be determined. The most important piece, and that goes into what Jamie and Wendy and I have spoken about, which is sort of this total package that we're doing. We want to find a home permanently for this team. And that home, we want to make sure we get right. I don't need to talk about the prior history of where the Rhinos have played and the history behind that, but we want to get there and get it right. And we're looking at some areas of Rochester now where we can build a permanent stadium for this team for generations.
All right, thanks. We have some participants just joining in, and Seth, we'll get to another question with you in just a moment, but a lot of people are wondering about Jamie Vardy's, his international star, his stature can certainly bring a lot of attention to the Rochester RNYFC team, but does it also help in bringing local soccer players and local soccer fans back into the fold and on the pitch?
Oh, we're definitely hoping so. That's all in, like we've said, as part of the plan. But I think mainly it's players. I mean, if you've seen my story and what I went through to get where I am, it's helped a lot of players out who I knew about. I mean, I ran an academy that got players into the professional game as well. So hopefully bringing all that and the knowledge of everything like that will make people and players want to come and play for us.
Many people are familiar with your V9 Academy. Will you be able to replicate that here in the States?
We're definitely open. So we know, like I said, we know exactly how to do it and how it's been a success over here. So to do it over in the States should be absolutely perfect for us. And just to get them little local gems that we can then have playing for the hometown club and just making sure that they're proud of everything and everyone's proud of them.
That's great. We do have another question coming in from Seth Voorhees, but any participant can also raise their hand or write a question in the Q&A section. Seth Voorhees has another question for us.
Yeah, actually, it's just a quick clarification. So the outdoor pitch, David, that you talked about, is that the it's just down the road from the academy there on John Street? And if that's so, what might that look like once once the team is playing and things are up and running?
Well, that's what we're designing now. So obviously we have to put in seats because there's no seats there. We've got to add some parking, but most importantly, we've got to add some type of a fan experience there. So right now we're looking at multiple designs, but if you were to go there now, you're just basically going to see a pitch, you're going to see some lights, some parking. We've got to turn that into a seating place where people can come and watch and participate. And again, that's part of that multi-year process, Seth.
What's already started, Seth, is improvements to the training facility, so it's ready for the first team. That's being started now.
All right, the question for Pat Erkley is in regarding the history of the Rochester Rhinos, any of the negative feedback from the rebranding, how to counteract that with bringing the team back to the championship level.
I mean, we're looking to, we've had conversations already with Jamie and also our sporting director, Lee Tucker. We want our team to play more of an exciting brand of soccer, more high pressing, high energy, more attacking, more goals, that type of game. We want to have a tie-in with local talent, and we have an alliance now with Empire United that will eventually rebrand as well with us. But the opportunity for local players, not just on the local level as a pathway through to us that hasn't been around for 4 years, but also the opportunity to go to Europe. And that's where Jamie and his people have the ability to open up doors for us. So from a global standpoint, it's important for us to have a name that actually pinpoints our community, Rochester, New York. Rochester Rhinos may have a reach in our local community and a reach in our country based on the fact that we won the Open Cup. But does it have a reach across borders, across the world? And I think that's where Jamie has the opportunity to, improve our ability to be a global brand.
Obviously, with almost 1 million Twitter followers, Jamie, you have such star power. And people are still asking, how are you going to leverage that star power in Leicester City and bring it to Rochester, put the spotlight here on Rochester?
Well, that's like we've just been saying, that's all in as planned. It'll be getting shown throughout the months, years in how we're going to be building this. And that's one thing that we want, like Pat just said there, getting a player to come and play for us. We don't just want them to be, yeah, that's your limit, you're with us. No, we want you to be better than us. You play for us and then you progress and you make your life better for yourself as well. So giving them opportunities is a massive thing. It's not something that people get every single day of the week. It's a very small percentage that do get to play professional football. So just giving them the opportunities to do that and letting them fulfill their dreams, that'll make us really proud.
A lot of people are asking, they're anxious to get going and seeing where this plan will play out. Have you been able to identify local talent already, or is that in the things on your to-do list, Jamie?
Now, players have been getting looked at already behind the scenes. It's something that I think you need to do from day one. I mean, like I said, we've been talking for over 2 years, so I think that process started quite early. It's knowing the players that we want. Obviously, we need to make sure we get a head coach in because he might want certain other players as well. So it is a long process, but it is one that's underway.
Okay. We'd like to go back to the Dworkins for the question about, can you, expand on the vision for the club down the road?
Well, one of the visions that Jamie actually challenged me was to make this club known throughout the world, to be the most recognizable minor league sports franchise in the world. So is that possible? Well, we're certainly going to work hard to make that happen, and we're going to believe in the impossible. And we've been working for almost 2 years to bring that into a reality with the rebrand, stadium, working on coaching, everything to bring this opportunity, not just to local talent, but to be recognized across the globe. And quite frankly, there are things that have already been proven possible with Jamie's involvement that we could never achieve on our own. There was a use I want to co-locate with our stadium, and Jamie made that happen with one phone call, got me introduction to this company. So I think with Jamie on board that I really can believe impossible, and that things that we have not been able to achieve in the past can be achievable.
Well, and I would just add that one of the things that's happened over the last year or so is the Rochester Rhinos, RNYFC, they've existed for a long time, but nationally, people know who we are because of the Open Cups, but internationally, we weren't as identifiable as we might be locally. And what's happened is, if you look at even who our followers are, you know, my wife and I were interviewed by the BBC. I mean, these are things that would never happen to this club if not for this fantastic connection between Jamie, his folks, our franchise, our people. It's just, it's a brand that we've seen is elevating itself to where we are recognizable. And if you want to put Rochester on the map, have people across the world say, I know that team, I follow that team. And that's one of the things that we talk about as we put this whole package together, is to be an identifiable brand, but remember where we are. And Pat mentioned it clearly. There's a lot of Rochesters in the United States. There's only one Rochester, New York, and that's on our badge.
All right, thank you, Wendy and Dave Dworkin. As we kind of go around the horn to ask for final statements, I'd like to go back to Pat Erkley. Believe impossible. What's it mean to you?
Well, I think, look, I've been around since the Lancer days, which go back to the 1970s. You know, I came back to the Rochester market in mid 80s. We didn't have a stadium. We didn't have a team. We didn't really have professional or even amateur level soccer that combined local talent. So, you know, being able to dream like we did with the Rhinos in the mid 90s and accomplish what we did, this is another step forward for us. And being able to accomplish those same goals, but also to accomplish greater goals. I think the three owners here that are on this call with me, you know, they put their heart and soul into this. And when we made decisions, they were based on the Rhinos. They were based on the colors of the Rhinos. They were based on our championships. They were based on the history and the people of Rochester that supported us. So they want to see it move forward in a greater manner. And they want kids in our area to have the ability to dream as well.
Great. And so I go to Jamie Vardy now with the same question. What does believe impossible mean to you?
To me personally, it's exactly how my career's gone. I've been told I'm not good enough on many occasions, too small, I'll never make it. But when I get told stuff like that, it just makes me want to prove everyone wrong. And it's exactly the same with this. Yeah, we are rebranding, and there's going to be people that say it's not the best idea, but with what we've got planned, we are going to prove you wrong, and we'll show you exactly that believing impossible is the right way.
All right, thank you so much. That's going to do it for us here and our panelists. We do want to thank Pat Erkley, David and Wendy Dworkin, and Jamie Vardy for joining us. You know, we invite everybody on this call right now to go to RNYFC.com. You can see the new club crest, and you'll see that it takes inspiration from the High Falls Waterfall District in the heart of Rochester. The High Falls area is where Rochester's early industrial development began, when the factories were powered by the waters of the Genesee River. And, you know, Rochester New York FC expects the power to continue to flow through this city, especially through the spirit of soccer. So yes, indeed, believe impossible. We will have a league announcement for Rochester NYFC in the coming weeks. And we want to let everybody know our social handles are live, RNYFC official. So check it out there. And again, our website, RNYFC.com. Check it out. Thanks for everybody for being here, and we'll see you on the pitch.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.